I'm sure he's got some tales to tell, so welcome, Gerard. Gerard, it's really wonderful that I'm introducing someone from a wonderful area of Australia. Do you ever get to meet the great Tim Fisher from Boree Creek?
Yes, from Boree Creek, yes, lovely little town in the Riverina where I grew up, and the family was good friends with the Fisher family. My brother Des, the fellow in the wheelchair, my sister, they were school classmates with Des with Tim at Boree Creek Primary. Yeah. Great family, great community.
Boree Creek, you put it on the map, mate. I think you've got a very, very unique record in Murray Valley. You've played in 3 premierships in 3 different grades, and you've also won the bowling average in all 3 grades, both club and association. Would that be right?
I know I've got the A reserve and B grade. And 1 year at Cobram I won A and B. I may have snuck the A grade Murray Valley, but that's back in the olden days.
Memories do fade. So you started in Boree Creek, aged 12. Do you have many memories of those times, or, you know, who taught you the basic skills and the fundamentals that made you so successful later on?
Oh yes, I started when I was about 12 and 10 months at Boree Creek and just filled in for a couple of years, as most kids did in those little bush comps. In the Narrandera Association, which is turf and matting, 1 turf wicket at the sports ground. Yeah, community, because a lot of our players came from 15 miles out of Boree Creek, and so different, but enjoyed that country atmosphere and the community thing, because it's a definite need for all bush communities to have that social contact at the end of the week. The fundamentals, dear old Dad gave me 3 things about sport. Whatever you do, watch the ball all day, all the time. If you play football, learn to kick with your left foot, which was very helpful in my latter years of fielding. Stopped many a ball because so far down. And the other one, he said, when you bowl, make certain if the batsman misses it, he gets bowled. So that was very good from Dad. But the best thing that happened in my bowling was a Rothmans Cricket Foundation coaching clinic at Narrandera at the park. If you go through Narrandera, there's a lovely little cricket ground on your left where the information centre is. And the fellow conducting that was a fellow called Ray Flockton, who was a very good state Sheffield Shield cricketer for New South Wales. And we had a game between the convent kids and the high school kids, made a combination of children from both sides, both schools. And I opened the bowling for my team. And after halfway through the second over, he said to me, how do you hold the ball? Well, just hold it, because I was a fast bowler, because I had red down my shirt, down my shorts. He said, you're going to rub the shine off the ball, hold it this way. And he showed me how to bowl an outswinger, and that is the best thing that ever happened to my career. The ability, I was lucky enough to be gifted the ability to swing a ball, and with that advice and Dad's advice, they miss it, they get bowled. Stood me in stead for many, many years, and I reckon that made my career.
Yeah, red on your clothes is very good for a fast bowler, really good. So you arrived in Cobram in 1970 to a very talented Cobram Cricket Club. Your first game was on Malthoid at the high school, and from then on you played in 10 premierships and 10 times runners-up. So it was a highly successful, talented cricket club. So was there any opposition that you really enjoyed bowling against, and was there any prized wickets that you really went after?
I'll go prized wicket would have been best bat in Murray Valley then was Graham Gemmell. He was the Bradman of the league. If you got Graham, was the one to get. I sort of targeted, as a bowler, you targeted the best batsman from the other side, but stuck to those principles from what I said before. Opposition was Yarrawee. We couldn't beat them when I came in. We weren't really successful prior to me coming. And we were runner-up to Yarrawee 2 years in a row, 74, 5 and 3, 4. 75, 76, we finally broke the ice in a classic Murray Valley Grand Final. We batted first, made 256 or 104 8-ball overs, which is about 131 6 balls. Yarrawee came out and batted. There's a bloke coming up after me, he made 50. Yarrawee made 240 and we bowled 128 8-ball overs, which is about 170 overs. Unbelievable. Great grand final. Our first A-grade premiership for quite a few years for Cobram, and that turned the tide for Cobram. We became a very successful side for quite a while, but yeah, Yarrawee and that A-grade grand final, epic.
So then we turn to your participation at Country Week. 30 times to Bendigo, 25 times to Bendigo. And there you had a phenomenal day out against Rochester, 9 for 16, 15. Can you still remember that game?
That was a bit of a blur as the day went. It was a Monday against a team called Western Plains, who were a synthetic competition, and it was a Monday wicket, which they had to have that wicket ready for the whole week, so there was probably a little bit of extra moisture in it to make the wicket whole. The wicket wasn't really that poppy, but a little bit slowish, but I got a combination of court, LBW and outswinger. But cricket's a great leveler. 2 years later, on the same wicket, when I bowled at the death, I had to bowl the last over. We were chasing at the moment, at that time, over 300, and I had to bowl the last over at the death. 8-ball over, and I held the bloke to 27 runs.
That's the best thing about cricket, isn't it? Great leveller. Yeah. So let's just concentrate on a few other things that you've achieved, and we saw a lot of it up on the screen. But 25 years as a curator, so I don't know how many times up and down the wicket that would be. You worked with Seagrad and for a number of years and produced a fellow famer, Mr. Peter Stewart, sitting over there. You were an MVA selector, MVA executive member, and one can read into this that you just possessed a great love of cricket to do it for all of that. So can you put into words really what cricket meant to you during those times, or probably still is?
Cricket, I think I summed up in the first one. It's a community thing, but I'll do the Bendigo one. Love Bendigo. It was great to play with players from opposition clubs in the Murray Valley, and to get together for a week, you really got to appreciate the friends that you make for life. I'm starting to drift a bit, but
No, just what you got out of cricket and why you loved it so much.
Oh, to provide a community thing and facilities and a program where people go on to better things and enjoy that team friends for the rest of their lives. You know, like the Bendigo crews, still see people at footy and that, and Kathy said, "Who's that?" And I said, "Oh, that was one of the Bendigo boys." And you never lose that, which is good. I'll mention two things that really made the Bendigo trip. My first Bendigo trip, we didn't have a manager, we didn't have accommodation. Ted Bott was the captain. We played Elmore the first day. People drove over, we didn't have buses. We played at Elmore. The second day we played at Rochester, so we stayed Rochester Motel Monday night. We went into Bendigo for the Wednesday game. Macca was on that too. All the blokes over 18 slept on the floor at the Shamrock. Ted Bott got all the kids under 18. We had a few. He got them into a caravan park at Harcourt. The next night I slept on the floor at the Brian Baru Hotel. a rough introduction, but absolutely loved it. I loved the format of Bendigo, playing against all the little associations all over Victoria. Great work. It introduced juniors to country work. Speaking of juniors, you mentioned Peter with coaching. The other good juniors I remember from Cobram were Dean Valenti, very good player, Leon Anderson, Michael Roger, unfortunately he's in heaven, but yeah, and I think that's the critical thing for any sport, is develop the juniors, given the conditions we're facing now with COVID and sport struggling in the bush, or struggling everywhere, but especially in the bush, you've got to give them that opportunity to go on and enjoy their lives, really, community-wise.
Okay, we'll finish up with just a little anecdote. Now, I did hear a story about playing at Berrigan. Hat trick, $50. Tell us about it.
Yeah, this is a good one. At Berrigan would have been in 75 or 6. I was on a hat trick, and Bob Singline had brought all the blokes in, as you did in those days, for the hat trick. And Les Koopman was the umpire, and going back to the bowling mark, and he looked at me and said, "Bet you don't get your hat trick." And I looked at him and said, "Yeah, sure, Les." I said, "I'll probably bowl a grubber and get him LB." And bugger me, it came in. Russ Milne was batting, and the Berrigan people, been big Russ. And bugger me, the ball ran along the ground, hit him absolutely plumb. And Kirby looked at me and went, "I owe you $50. And our conversations for the rest of our lives was, "Did I give you that $50? He said, "Yeah." No, but that's a great memory. Look, I've got a million memories from sport. Absolutely enjoyed it. Like catches, matches, wickets, and all that. They're numbers, but memories and friendships just go forever.
Exactly right. Now, just to finish up, would you like to thank people that you want to thank? Acknowledge how you feel tonight and being given this award.
This is something that when Anthony said to me, "How do you feel about this?" Is back in whenever I was accepted, and I said, "It's not a thing you think will happen when you start playing cricket in the backyard at home bowling to the young brother, and 60 years later or whatever it is, here I am." But I've absolutely enjoyed it. I'll do the thank yous now. I have a few people to thank. First one is my dear old mum, because I have a fractured skull on my right side. There's a hole there, there's no plate. I had to give up football, which was devastating for a 13, 14-year-old. I convinced Mum, because I batted right hand, that the ball would hit me on the good side of my head, and Mum reluctantly let me play, otherwise I would have been playing tennis. I had to give up football, which is... so thanks, Mum. Number 2 goes to my lovely wife, Kathy. She supported me with cricket, especially the wicket, because the first time I took the girls down to the wicket and spent a lot of time there, and the sprinklers were going. The girl said, "Can we run under sprinklers?" I said, "Go for it." And most times the wicket was about an hour, so I took the girls home first time, absolutely wringing wet. And Kathy said, "That's okay," so thank you. The third, I'll do the ladies first. Third one was Alison Stewart. When I was on executive, I was assistant secretary to Artie, and Dave Darby was president, and he said, "You do all the correspondence, I don't want Artie to do it." Alison Stewart was the typist at the State Rivers where I worked. Anyhow, thank you, Alison, for all that. Alison's wedding present from us was, on the committee we had to frame the draw naturally, and teams are always asked to put in any wishes for the Berrigan used to request to buy for the Berrigan Cup. Cobram requested to buy for Cobram Show Weekend. So we framed the draw around that, and Alison said to me in the office one day, she said, "Oh, can you make Baruga have a buy on such and such a day?" And I said, "Why is that?" She said, "That's when I'm getting married." So Darbs comes into the office later on and said, "Oh, I've got another request for a change to the draw." He said, "What?" And I said, "For a wedding." And put that over Dad. Can't do that for a wedding? Who's getting married? And I said, the typist. She does all our typing. So, so what are we going to do? I said, I've already changed it. So, Murray Valley Executive thanks Brendan and Alison Brooks on their probably nearly 40 years of winning. Well done. So that was an early. So thank you. Thanks for all the players that I played with and that managed at Bendigo and Cobram. I'll leave it at that. Thanks everyone. Oh, Hall of Fame. Thanks Chinga. I made a few requests for accommodation. The music. I'll give you the music one. That song you heard was our last trip my last trip. We were going to Bendigo on the bus, and the lovely Mick Cleary always had a tape going, and we're probably an hour out of the trip, and he had head-banging music for all the young blokes. They're all at the back of the bus drinking beer, and I'm up the front with Mick's driving, and Terry Colson was the coach, and he's halfway down there talking to the boys. And out of the blue came that song you just heard, You Are My Sunshine. I looked at Mick, I said, where'd you get that from? And he said, it's for Terry. Terry Colson, because Terry was the older man, so it was appropriate to play it then, and I'm glad it was appropriate to play it tonight because they're up there looking down on us, Mick's up there with them. So have a good night. Thanks for putting up with me for 30 years or whatever it's been. Enjoyed it. Congratulations to the other guys coming in. You all deserve it. You've all been people who've just helped Murray Valley survive over the years. It's tough calls for the committees and clubs and that to provide cricket or sport for bush communities, and that's what it's about. Bush communities and that community thing. So thanks again. Have a good night. And as I always say at Cobram, catch you in slips.